Hail Satan!
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 Hail Satan! And welcome to another episode of Talk Nerdy to Me. I am Jay.
I am Gaz.
And we have just watched Hellboy. At least I think we did. So you know, we're just going to dive right into this because we have so much. So this is a spoiler review. It's very clear on the title. We've not long just done our Shazam review. If we don't want to talk about anything other than this, and right away, I normally turn to Gaz and say, Gaz, what did you think of this film? But I need to get this. I need to exercise this demon, right? What in blue blazes did we fucking just watch? Because I've read Hellboy, and I'm a fan of the Guillermo del Toro Hellboy with Ron, and that was, and I mean this in every sense of the word, apart from possibly one scene, everyone should have been fired.
What scene?
Well, we'll get to that, but there was literally nothing other than what's the main guy called who does the acting?
David Harbour.
David Harbour. Other than David Harbour's acting and that one scene in the chicken house, that was the living house, right? There is no redeeming qualities in this film. This was the biggest shit show I've watched and will probably be my worst film of the year. What do you think?
I think you've been too generous, JP, because I don't even agree with the chicken house as you described it.
The chicken house?
Made me cringe the entire way through it, and not for good reason.
Right.
And I laughed a lot.
But for the wrong reasons.
At its expense. And it wasn't like...
I heard you every time.
The Room bad, where I felt, oh, well, you know, it's bad, but I'm enjoying it.
It's like an irony. Yeah.
It was terrible.
Who greenlit any of it?
What on earth was half of that film?
I don't know. I mean...
The acting?
Thank you! I thought I was being snobby, but was everyone just reading from someone holding... You know when those monks were holding up, like, don't open? Yeah. That was the best verbal dialogue in the whole film with the silent monks. It felt like the actors were reading something just off camera, apart from David Harbour, who really was the only person who knew what was going on. I'm just going to... I'll quickly just get out of the way. David Harbour, what did you think of him?
I didn't like it. I felt like every moment of comedy that tried to get passed through him, and this is not necessarily his fault because the film fell off around him anyway, so it wasn't funny. But every line, it just didn't work. This is like when someone tries to do comedy and it just fails so badly.
But it's David Harbour, like I said,
is he not responsible for the delivery of it?
I don't know if you give. I mean, how it takes a real talent to have to mould like humour out of something that isn't funny. And he might have even done a couple of takes where he did, but they chose the wrong take. For me, this is purely around him, like you said. It's not him.
I like him.
I love him.
He's brilliant in Stranger Things.
Yeah.
This is why we love him. Essentially, this is the first, David Harbour thing, and everyone loves him because he is the cop in Stranger Things. But
Harper,
let's just take that out of it. If he was just a guy in this film, I think he wouldn't have a career left. That's how bad this was. I honestly don't understand how they got this so bad. Like, I thought it was going to be bad. From the trailers. I thought it was going to be bad, but I was not even... I wanted to walk out. I never walk out of films. And only for us doing this, I stayed in my fucking seat. That would have been the first film I physically got up and went, I can't watch any more of this.
I immediately began to, pull my own teeth out. At the very... We're going to just break this down, by the way, anyone listening. If you've just been through this shit show, we might as well go through almost like act by act, scene by scene in a nice, quick, linear fashion. That first thing with the in the year 615 BC and with King Arthur and her, that was when I was going, alarm bells.
Yeah.
There was a lot wrong. Every camera angle was wrong. The graphics were wrong. By the way, the woman who played
Neymar.
the footballer.
Mila Jovovich.
Yeah, I hate her anyway. I don't like her in anything she's been in. So I already kind of was on a back burner about how I'd feel. She was completely wrong for this.
She seemed to think the only thing she's ever really done that I
Resident
liked.
Evil?
No, not even that. I didn't like any of them. It was Fifth Element.
Oh, I don't like her in... I don't like Fifth Element.
I think that was what...
Controversial, but I don't like Fifth Element. But, yeah, it was just... That first opening scene explaining it was just so...
Odd backstory.
Odd backstory, and like going... It just seemed really... That whole thing was... If that's putting you start with your best foot forward, and that, to me, immediately screamed to me... This is going to be shit because everything was wrong. The camera angles, the graphics, the acting, the cutting, the editing. There was nothing right.
Yeah.
It was like a cinematic nightmare.
It was very, very odd. Like it kind of started and like there was this backstory going on and it felt rushed. It was all I thought. Well, okay. I mean, if you're going to rush some sort of backstory to the villain, okay, I guess.
Mm.
But then have a good film at the end of that.
Oh.
And then, I mean, I don't know when you truly lost it, but
I know when you lost it.
I truly lost it when the Warthog came on, speaking what I can only describe, and American audiences might not quite get this, but Scouser.
Yeah.
Alright, kid! It's this fucking Hellboy over here! I was like, what on earth is going on?
It was like fucking...
And I couldn't then take anything else seriously again.
You were laughing so much.
And every time he came on, he seemed to go, you fucker. Get over here while I put you in a fucking headlock, you red swat.
It was
like, what is going on?
It was like Devo Pumbaa.
I felt like in cinemas up and down the country, have they overdubbed this character to the scowl of that city? Was that just for us? But then, would you get... Like, obviously, we're watching it in Liverpool, right?
Yeah.
And everyone was laughing for a long... I mean, there was like a row of scowl kids.
Yeah.
Essentially right next to me. And they were pissing themselves laughing.
But probably for the same reason you were.
And you're thinking, fucking hell, like, this is truly terrible. But then if you're sat, like, okay, we might have to ask the Nerd Cult Underground guys if they go and watch this abomination. But what would they get from that? Because they haven't got that regional kind of information to go, what is that accent, by the way?
Well, I mean... There's something weird about using... Whenever the occult are brought into comics, they do seem to... Obviously, it centres around England, and then they decide to go for either London, Scotland, or Liverpool. So, like, Constantine, who's a big DC person and deals purely with the paranormal, is Scouse. However, infamously, to Scousers, if you watch any of the Constantine cartoons, or there was a Constantine live-action series... The accent's just not there. It's like, it's not Scouse, and they just don't nail it. So it's almost like it goes over their heads. I think that they wouldn't... It's played by an American. I don't think they would truly hear the difference. We probably sound like that to them, but that was the most spitting image.
Stephen Graham is a Scouser, right, who played the Warthog.
Is he? Have you looked this up since?
This is the guy. You'll know who he is. He's from things like This Is England and stuff like that. I only knew this because it came up at the end. I didn't obviously think, oh, well, that's him. You know who he is.
Let's have a look.
He's in...
Fuck off! It wasn't him!
It was him!
No!
Well, it fucking was, right?
Oh my days, that is the worst performance he's ever given.
Honestly, right, he sounded... Like he was putting on a Scouse accent.
Like when Russell Brand in Rock of Ages or whatever it is with Tom Cruise has to do a London accent, or he chooses a Brummie accent instead, and he just can't do it.
Yeah,
well, you're
it
English
felt
anyway.
Like and it wasn't just Scouse, by the way.
Oh, it's
the Irish guy.
Which Irish guy?
Merlin.
Was that meant to be Irish?
I don't know, but what was that?
Oh.
I thought someone is taking the piss here. There was that scene where it was like, and then the Irish goat looked at you, and then you went straight to hell.
He did. You also went, she been flinging around with a demon shaped like a goat, and you just began laughing your head off. This is, I mean, it was impossible. Can I also point out that you shouldn't, there is an argument, people argue, should you always compare to his predecessor or should you give it a clean slate? However, one cannot argue that this film was undoubtedly in some way going to be compared to its predecessor, which Guillermo del Toro prides himself and did then on practical effects and puppetry and like this almost fucking Jim Henson mechanics, kind of like we want every creature to be real. Why were the graphics in this done by a year 12 student graphics designer?
From the 90s.
Nothing looked real. Not a thing looked real. The scorpion on his hand didn't look real.
What was the like walking clitoris?
Yeah, the walking asshole.
What the fuck was that? And then there was like the thing that was in and one of the things in the trailer
that gave me alarm bells.
And I was like, what on earth is that? Was that like long thing walking down the river, almost going, come on, with his hands.
Like jazz hands.
I thought, well, he must be like some sort of central villain. What was that bit about?
Oh, right.
When
Well,
he releases all these demons.
Well,
and
this
then
is-
one of them is a walking clitoris that shoots fire or something.
one of them just happens to be just like standing on, has pointy legs, and he's like, "Oh, sorry, I stabbed you. Oh, sorry." It didn't look like he was malicious. It was. By the way, right? Okay, there's so much to process. The storyline just didn't add up either. It was like a story from a 90s show, a 90s movie. There's so many plot holes. Why did he get stolen away to that chicken house in an elevator and then somehow come back? Why did that person want to stop the other thing? Why did so he took the sword of Excalibur, but that in itself caused what I can only assume at least a six-figure kill count of people, and in the end he just uses that to kill her, but that's what Merlin wanted him to do, but that apparently would have caused all this, and then they're just kind of like, nah, you know, at the end it was just like, so you're a king now? It's like, yeah, guess that technically
There
makes
were
you king.
so many scenes like that though. Like one of the worst characters,
Go on.
I'd like to just say, is the M11 guy who turns into the
Cheetah.
What was he? Like, and how wooden his acting was made it so much worse. But his backstory
was Predator. His backstory was just he watched Predator once, and he's just dead good at describing it.
I thought, oh my god, is this actually Predator then?
Yeah.
I was like, please tell me this is some sort of crossover.
Smear cord mud on your shelves.
So weird. And like, obviously, they go, what happened to you? And he tells this Predator story and comes back to the car and they go, cool story, bro. And then move on.
Well, it's not just that. No, she goes, I'm so sorry. I didn't really think it would be that bad. He has scars all through his face. Do you think it was, oh, I got into a fight with a warlock and tripped and fell into a door and we laughed about it? It was clearly going to be like a psychosomatic, terrible thing. Which, by the way, I knew what it was going to be because it was in the fucking trailer. Everything was in the trailer. If you've seen the trailer, you've seen the film. You don't need to know anything. Oh my god.
His wooden backstory almost worked with the wooden character in a way because there's no way it could have been anything different. Like, has he been to acting school? it was so weird.
What the hell did go?
I've never watched anything where there's so little chemistry coming off the screen.
Yeah.
And like, obviously, it was almost like they were trying to make the girl and him some sort of like buddy up thing towards the end, and it just wasn't working. And
the girl. I'm sorry, but what was she like? She just everything she said, she was just saying, "Ask the person." She didn't mean a single word. I thought at first it was going to be like, almost like Drax. You know, like there's something wrong with her, and it's gonna pan out. It's gonna be something to do with her powers. Which, by the way, it's just all of a sudden randomly, I can punch the ghost out of zombies.
I didn't know I could do that. Oh, right. Well, you know, that explains
Oh,
that.
to build up to that, she just goes, we have to stop running. We are trying to save the world. I know, but I'm not like you. I get tired. Oh, okay, I guess we'll stop. Or should we take 10 minutes, guys? Should we just relax? No, you just go, I'm sorry, we're going to have to leave you behind. Or go, you go back to the chopper. Why did we bring you anyway if you can't keep up with us? You're quite young. How can you not keep up with us?
Obviously, they had to take her so she could do the genie from Aladdin bit.
Yeah. Oh my god. What was going... Like...
Why? If he can speak to spirit, does he come out with, like, sheds of skin? It didn't make any sense.
It was just like this weird...
Like, oh man, fucking like he'd been shredded. I was like, why is he shredded?
God. You know,
surely if it's the spirit
of the Marshmallow
it's
Man.
not like he's the spirit and he's dishevelled.
But what was with... Right, what's the name of that actor who played his dad? He's a famous actor.
He's an American God.
Yeah, he's an American God.
I'm pretty sure he was Kilroy. Not Kilroy.
Kilroy!
I wish it was Kilroy.
Killjoy.
Yeah, was it not Lovejoy?
Lovejoy. Was he Lovejoy?
Heathcliff or whatever it was. There's like some ITV drama from fucking...
Oh my god, he's got the eyes for it.
I'm sure that's what he was famous for.
But
Ian McShane.
Ian McShane, he's been in tons of stuff. He's been in some piss take stuff as well. He was struggling as well. But that bit at the end where he's just like this floating head on this other weird marshmallow body, and he's giving this big speech about how you need to change, and all I could think of is they are sure spending a lot of time focusing on Hellboy's face because they know the graphics for this aren't good and are not usable. Like
that sums up the graphics for me. And the only other scene where I thought, what on earth are you doing?
The giant scene.
Oh god, I forgot about that.
The giants?
And what was the purpose in that again?
I don't know. Like, this is what I mean. It kind of stumbled from...
the Osiris thing, which he went to help, just happened to want to kill him, even though he was going to help him with the giants.
What it was implying...
But then that was disconnected to Neymar, right? Because she was something completely different. Because she then goes and kills them.
Yes, no.
So that doesn't make sense.
Right, so it was implying that they were still trying to figure out what was going on. So, but in the meantime, can you just go over and sort this giant problem out that they have? Which was the only good joke in the whole fucking film. They went, what giant problem? What's the problem? A giant problem. And yeah, I got that too. And then, then he goes there where this woman decides to randomly go, I'm going to talk about your entire lineage and where you come from for no reason, which doesn't matter because we're going to kill you. And then, so then they decide they're going to kill him to stop the end of the world happening. But then the giants just come along as if they just went, we forgot about the giants. There is a genuine giant
thing
problem.
About giants, right?
Right.
They're very big.
Yes.
They're easy to spot. They would be very loud, would they not, when moving around?
Yeah,
So how did they sneak the fuck up on them?
And especially really brilliantly just knock his head off perfectly.
Yeah.
There was a lot of physics in this that didn't make sense. My initial hairs of like suspicion arose on this when he somehow picked the bat up and threw it, and it landed and perfectly speared itself on the corner of a wrestling ring. And even though they had complete control of the camera and the graphics, I didn't buy for a second that is the angle and trajectory that bat would have gone in. Also, who the fuck was that guy?
I don't know.
Who the fuck was that guy? Still don't know. Apparently he meant a lot. It was enough to get him pretty fucking upset. He's never mentioned again.
As a vampire, I think it may as well.
Also, are the vampires still out there? Because they were implying that he was meant to go and sort vampires out.
Some vampires, and there was just one of them.
Well, he was it. He was the next.
Oh god, it was so bad.
There was so much about this film. I think it kept trying to be like gory and bloody, and it just
But it
didn't
came off
work.
really cringy.
It came
I
off
thought.
like not
that
Hammer
was
horror.
What was it? There was a scene where they got, I think it might have been the Warthog with the monks,
Yeah,
where he turns up at this like
it rips a tongue out.
Yeah, and like obviously this was that the first introduction of the Warthog? I'm not too sure.
I don't know. Isn't there a bit where
And
he's
there's limbs throwing out, and then he puts the gums of the monk in to open the first
and
chest.
speaks like the monk?
Like it was like an old granddad's pair of teeth.
Yeah.
By the way, I can now speak monk. Should have kept him in, mate.
Oh, they tried to give him a backstory when furries steal babies. They often leave pigs disguised as humans, and then he's annoyed because you made them realise I was a little piggy. Oh God, this is the way. Why is it so bad? I mean, they've got they didn't have the budget. Sorry, I felt like there was no money in this film. It was just David Harbour sometimes was painted pink to save on the red.
Okay, if this is a film struggling with money, why has it come out in the cinema? Why
Exactly.
didn't they just make a Netflix film,
Show.
low budget, or
Netflix
something
show.
like that?
Umbrella Academy is Dark Horse Comics as well.
I don't understand. It makes me cry sometimes that this can get enough to get into cinema when there'll be filmmakers and struggling films that don't quite get
Desperately
that mainstream like push, and I just don't. How did it even? I mean, who is Neil Marshall?
Oh, is he
Who
the
is
director?
Yeah. Because this was a complete calamity.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Unless it comes out that for some reason he was
Had
forced...
a stroke before. Wait, let's see what he's done.
No, unless he's been forced. You know how that guy had to come in and do the end.
Dog soldiers.
Oh my God, that explains it. Well, I don't know. Was Dog Soldiers was better than that. It knew its tone. This seemed to want to try and scare us, but at the same time make me laugh. But it made me cringe.
Director stuff. He did one episode of Westworld, oddly enough.
I bet it's the one you don't like.
Probably. Constantine, the TV series.
That's why the Scouse accent's off. I just said that. Constantine. So he's got no clue what a Scouse accent sounds like.
All he's done a couple of episodes here and there of TV. And I do mean, like, obviously, good shows, but, like, one episode of those shows. So you can't really ruin that.
No.
The last film he did, from what I can see, was 2010.
Stop mocking
something
that.
Called Centurion. Sorry, I'm getting agitated. Doomsday, The Descent, Dog Soldiers. And
The Descent!
That's it.
He did The Descent as well.
Pretty much. There's a couple of short films.
So The
in there,
Descent is like this really creepy ass... It's the one where those women go potholing. But again, weirdly enough, it's one of them films where I let it off because I think it kind of wasn't taking itself too seriously, but the story was weird and unexplained and fucked up. I feel like he's tried... He can't tie stuff together, but this is something that has 25 years of history, this comic, and has ties, and he's not the man to do it. He's trying to string spaghetti together. He's got no clue what he's doing.
Yeah.
It was... I mean, the only scene I enjoyed was the bit in the chicken house where he's just talking to the woman, and the woman is clearly prosthetic, and talking to him, and because it was the only thing that hadn't been like fake, I got a flashback to Guillermo del Toro's and felt like this is where it should kind of be lying.
Okay.
But I'm telling you, that's like 1 minute of the film I felt okay. And then the rest of it I was just scratching my head going, what is going on?
The bit in the chicken house where like a little wooden peg legs like goes. Like she's some sort of wooden spider.
Me father was a tree.
It was literally like that fucking thing in Family Guy?
Yeah, him, the guy
That was what it reminded
arms
me
and
of.
legs for
And now
legs.
suddenly they've tried to make this a scary thing, but I was too busy laughing. It wasn't scary. It wasn't gory in a good way. It was just so bad. Like, I just don't. And I'm looking at Neil Marshall's films there and going, "Oh, come on, mate!" Like, but who put him in charge? I don't understand. This should not be allowed to happen.
Right, here's another big problem I had. The Hellboy ethos, okay? 3 things I at least know about Hellboy. Number 1, the guy has, like, certain issues with being associated with the devil and monsters and everything. Hence the snapped off horns. It barely touched on that. It says he doesn't like his horns. Didn't really go into anything. And then when he has them at the end, he just quickly snapped them off and still didn't explain anything. He could have even had one of the guys. By the way, this was exposition, the movie. Everything was exposition. There was no conversations. It was always like, we are doing this because of this happening. In fact, we have the plot explained to us twice because we saw how Hellboy, we saw what happened to Nyeh in the very beginning, and then the dad explains Nyeh to Hellboy in another scene. Like, well, we know this. We've just watched it. So anyway, I'm digressing. So that's number 1. Number 2, his fist. This massive fist he has there is again an origin of it, which they didn't touch on, but they still scratched near it. So I don't know how they're going to talk about it ever again. But I don't feel like when he used it, they made a big deal of it. Like, they just kind of, he punched, but they really should have focused more. Like, this is his strength. At the moment, people will be like, why is this guy so special? He can take a hit. That's it. And number 3. The guns. He has massive ass guns because he can hold and weld them, and it's meant to be cool and shooting. He barely used it.
And you never really thought that it was anything special when he did use it.
Yeah, it didn't make out anything was really important that he did. He kind of just blundered into seeing.
Like the bit on Pendle Hill where he shoots off a face off. You never really thought it was like a big moment.
No. And
like,
then
he's used his coax gun to do that.
And they just went back to that scene 3 times to show her eyes falling out, and then all the monsters running away because we're going to be an army.
Those monsters.
Oh my god, who designed them? It's like someone watched Gremlins once and then was just like, go with it, just do something. It was awful in comparison to anything. I'm getting stressed out just thinking about everything.
I think we've probably surmised by now this was pretty terrible.
Oh yeah, if you haven't got that by that.
It's hard. I can't find a redeeming feature with this film. Can this possibly?
Go on.
Because there was post-credits scenes.
Go on.
Usually that ties into other films. Could this, in any way, do you think, pass some sort of test to get a second movie?
I don't think it will. I genuinely don't think it will. There's no guys. It has to make money. It was opening night. I didn't want to tell you before we headed down, but some reviews were already coming in, and the average Rotten Tomato score was 10%.
Wow!
Right.
So this is bombing.
But we went there. It's opening night. There was it was a third full.
Yeah,
the
and it was a
theatre.
small screen.
It's a small screen.
It wasn't a big screen.
Small screen, a third full, and needless to say, no one stayed for the after credit scene except for me and you and one other couple I saw, because I googled it, and then when I found out there was a second one, we did not stay for that. I just read what it was because it's not important. The main thing as well is if that's opening night, and you think like most people who go and see it, obviously it'll get quite rightly fucking panned, and I think this could be one of the worst for a long time that's been mainstream enough to have trailers and massive promo. Yeah. Like there's moving adverts on Facebook of Hellboy climbing out and stuff. Usually when we've gone and said, oh, well, the trailer looked bad, and we thought, this could be potential to be bad. Yeah, okay, it's bad. Like Suicide Squad was bad. Suicide Squad was bad. But
but not quite as abysmal as this was.
No.
And that is saying something, isn't it?
It was. I haven't been this angry since Godzilla. I don't know. I don't get how you've just got it this wrong. It's just the sheer practical effects of these computer graphics alone are terrible. Are terrible, and the Guillermo del Toro version was so deeply rooted in being realistic looking that to not even see that one comparison alone should have said something. I think that there's been, I've already read rumours that there's been major problems with this film in the behind the scenes, but there was no what test audience went, yeah, that's cool. Where's this green lit?
Maybe they knew it was bad and just thought, we need to try and make something back off it.
Because
and they pushed it out.
The thing is, there's certain aspects, and I feel sorry more for Mike Mignola, who's the creator of Hellboy, where it was actually rooted quite... it gone really into the comics of keeping stuff real. Like, there's some scenes were ripped straight from the comic book, and costume designs. But then the way they have actually played out, it's like watching... When we watch Big Fat Quiz of the Year and those kids redo a scene, it was like that. Just because you've got all the right costumes on doesn't a good film make. You still have to pull off the scene, and they just really fucking did. You know what was like the Hellboy baby itself climbing out? It looked like, do you remember that old dancing baby?
Yeah.
It looked like that, but just red. There was... I can't believe... I honestly think that, what's his name? The dad... requested he get killed so he doesn't have to be in another one.
But he could be, because she could summon the
She
spirit
could just...
fucking the genie from Aladdin again.
All she needs to get is some indigestion in his back. Like, it was... And then that last scene where it went like, you know, oh, let's go kick this... let's go kick the ass in here. And it's like meant to be...
What was the point in that last bit as well?
So that last bit was meant to... Well, I will tell you that... Well, here's the thing. The way I thought it was going to end, and I was going to scream. I was ready when it just went, I guess you're king, and zooms out, and the whole world's ablaze. Like, I was ready to go, what? That's not how it ends. And then it went, Siberia. I was like, all right, pull it back a bit. Give us something. It does this terrible montage where I could not tell what was going on. The choreography was worse than Iron Fist, that first series. And then at the end, they find Abe Sapien, who was, remember in the original one? Yeah. That's him. But even then, the thing that comes up and puts its hand on the glass like Titanic looked more like Howard the Duck's fin and leg. It didn't look like Abe Sapien's hand. They even got a hand wrong. And then the after credits scene is him drunk in a graveyard, and the lobster visits him, who's quite a bit of an obscure character who got a little bit of time. And then we're going to go like, oh, so the lobster's here now. The ghost of the lobster. No one will give a shit about that. And in the final cutscene, which we didn't stay for, is that one-eyed woman who ate children somehow, even though, like, well, that's another kettle of fish. Talking to someone off screen, saying, "Get me his eye. I want his eye," and that person saying, "Yes, I will get it for you." And I read it's a character that I've not even heard of because I'm not the biggest Hellboy fan.
It cannot get a sequel.
It can't. I think this is going to be like The Last Airbender.
Shall I have a little look?
Yeah, can we have a
See
look
if I can
now?
find any redeeming features that someone made.
Anyone said anything? It's just
you said. I mean, 10% on Rotten Tomatoes, which I obviously don't go off. I mean, it's 5 at the moment on IMDb, and if that's first night, usually that's like your peak. So that could come down quite considerably when most people come to watch it.
Oh God!
I mean, there's people rating it 10 in here. I mean, what kind of people are these?
It's probably the people who worked on the film. Like at the opening night, just give it. So we just bump the average up.
People saying very boring CGI gore, but not much else.
Yeah, what I mean, what did it have?
So this is kind of what you were saying. Harbour excels, but everyone else falters, and that makes the movie a misfire. But
Harbour was the right casting choice. Everything else was completely wrong. Everything. the way it was filmed, the way every shot, the music. What was with the music choices? What's that? A complete waste of everyone's time.
1 star, 1 star, 1 star.
Oh my god. The music, mate. Did you notice?
Oh god. I mean, was this the one with the smoke in the water thing that I said about
Yes.
the other day?
You
and
did.
I was proper like, oh my god, I'm not having this at all. Now, there was good music in it. I'm
It
not
didn't
going to say
suit.
it wasn't, but it didn't go anywhere near the rest of the film. And most of the music in it, I didn't know, I didn't like, I didn't care for, and it didn't suit the movie. Okay, you had Welcome to My Nightmare, which I love that song.
Yeah.
But I didn't care for it being in this movie. Any music that was in this movie, I don't want it to be in this movie.
Weirdly enough, the credits music, like when the credits were rolling and we were leaving, was what I expected the music to be like. It was this like crunchy original like metal song, instrumental. I liked that. But yeah, why when there was I don't know if you noticed this, but they played some it was a Def Leppard song in the I hate to say this about a Hellboy movie. They played the Def Leppard song in the Mexican wrestling vampire scene.
That,
you didn't know? Do you know why you didn't notice that?
Why?
Because they changed the lyrics to Spanish and Mexican.
Oh god!
So I could tell it was Def Leppard.
Obviously, the soundtrack. If you looked at it on paper, you might go, "Oh, well, that sounds pretty good," because it had Motley Crue at the end.
Motley Crue, but that did
Alice
not
Cooper.
go with that.
You're saying Spanish Def Leppard.
Spanish
what is that?
Def Leppard.
Well, I'm trying to think if there was anything
There was
else I remember.
there was some other weird choice. It was I don't want to say Van Halen, but there was bands like that. Like it was like someone had recently been to a Twisted Sister gig and just gone, I've got an idea.
Yeah.
It didn't fit. Nothing fit. This is. I mean, I don't know if there's anything else to talk about. I mean,
Isn't.
the Warthog was just hilarious. The way it died. The way everyone...
Probably, I mean, the only way I could even try and round this up is that is one of the worst villain things I've ever seen in my life with the Warthog. Like, it felt... You know what I said in the Shazam review about the turtles with the sins?
Yes.
And I was like, oh, I wasn't completely sold on it. It reminded me like...
Wait, hold on. What do you mean the turtles?
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The old one from, like, say, like, the 90s.
Oh, yeah.
Right, that's what it reminded me of. This reminded me slightly of that.
Of Bebop.
So, remember when it had, like... what was it? In the Turtles?
Yeah, Bebop.
Right, yeah.
Rocksteady and Bebop.
Yeah, that's it. Right, it reminded me of that. But really, really bad. And the Turtles film did them really bad. From what I remember.
Recently, yeah.
So, how did they get that even worse?
It did,
And
was
then,
bad.
like-
It was bad.
I mean, the Scouse accent, man. I mean...
We can't get past it.
That was like... I thought...
I half expected to go, where's Hellboy? In the entry!
Do you know... yeah. Right. Everyone, if you were told, right, okay, think of a character, right, that is probably the worst character you could possibly think of in a long time. It would probably be Jar Jar Binks.
Yes.
This, to me,
yeah.
is worse than Jar Jar Binks.
Worse?
Worse than Jar Jar Binks.
Do you not... But you laughed at him. You wouldn't laugh at Jar Jar Binks.
But... No.
I'm going to smash your face in, you fucking twat.
I just... If it was a comedy and it was meant to be that way, I would have much more sympathy for it. But this was meant... They did not mean that in a comedy way.
No, I don't think it was meant to in the bits it did.
Although I do not forgive Jar Jar, he goes... He's not an integral part of the film. He was an integral part of the film.
Apart from the bit where she just, like, somehow just shrunk him.
Yeah. Like, just made him a little pig again.
Yeah.
Ah, you bastard! What on earth, mate? I mean, that in itself was bad. I honestly, I didn't think there was any redeeming features. Like, I don't remember a scene where I was laughing for good reason. I thought the humour was terrible. And again, thinking back to doing the Shazam review before, how good a film can be when they get humour right. But this fell flat every time a joke was made.
Yeah. Other than the giant problems one was,
I didn't like that.
That's my kind of humour. But it was more the fact, like, it was, everyone smiles in prison once. That's it. It's literally, I don't think there's much more to say. Gaz, what are you rating this?
Oh,
wow, you're really having to think.
I don't know. I mean, I'm quite level-headed with reviews, and usually I'll say I'm going to give it a 2 or a 3 because they've tried hard.
Yeah.
But in this instance,
it
antagonised me that much that a film like this can be made with a budget enough to get it into cinema.
And marketed on the side of buses.
I'm giving it a 1.
Ooh.
And that is up there with the worst of the worst. I've never rated a film a 0. That would take some doing, I think, to actually say, what the fuck? But this is close.
I mean, I'm struggling because
I can't... and the reason I'm giving it a 1, right, is because I literally didn't like any of it. It's the first film I've ever wanted to leave the cinema for.
True, you did point that out. I did.
As much as I've rated films when I've been sat in a cinema, 2s and 3s, I think 3's probably the worst I've ever rated when I've been in the cinema.
Yeah,
that they didn't make me want to go. I'm getting up and going. This I would have left. I can't give it any more rating than a 1. And it's generous, that 1. That's just when some kid in the school sports day,
taking part award.
It's the taking part that counts. In this case, they shouldn't have took part. They should have shot the child.
Oh God, I was thinking during the giant scene, I was sat there thinking, how low am I going to rate this? I was actually thinking that. I just couldn't stop, I don't want to go that low. I don't want to say that I gave Hellboy as low a score as that, but there was, other than David Harbour's acting, I kept constantly being reminded visually and audibly that everything in this film was wrong. Nothing made sense. The script didn't make sense. The storyline didn't make sense. By the way, the script we didn't even touch on, to the point where there's the bit where for some reason what's meant to be funny is just Hellboy going, and then,
oh God,
and then,
they'd like robbed
and then,
dude, where's my car scene?
Yeah,
and made it not funny.
Oh, and that to me just says it. So I'm with you, mate. It's a 1. I can't give it a 0 because of David Harbour. If it wasn't David Harbour, if he performed as badly as maybe Ben Affleck did in that original Daredevil, it would be a 0. But it's a 1, and that's being generous to David Harbour.
I honestly, I think 1 is generous. I think this was a complete calamity. I don't get how films can be this bad. It doesn't make any sense to me. For me to be sat here going, it's a 1. I'm usually quite generous with bad films. I'll always go, I'll give them a 2 and a 3 because something was good in it, some sort of redeeming feature. But there just wasn't. It was so bad.
But who would have thought that King Arthur's grave was just here, where we are right now?
And I hate films as well. Like, we've spoke about this within like superhero films where everything's just going to shit around them and all this. And this was like one of those films where it just felt like it was chucked in. Like the whole scene where, like,
why did that all have to happen?
Burning.
Yeah, it didn't have to happen. And if that was happening, why did the guy hold? You know what? I'm getting really annoyed just talking about it. We're gonna wrap this,
finish.
Right? Yeah. So all the usual stuff. Go to talknerdy.
Can't we officially say though?
Go on.
before, and this will lead us to the finish.
Okay.
This is easily the single worst movie we've ever done since doing this.
Is it?
Both of us have rated it 1.
Yeah, because I think Batman v Superman was fun enough being the first one. I gave it like a 3.
I think I rated that quite highly when we first watched it, purely for Batman, yeah. I think I gave it like a 7.
I think I was so bored I gave it a 3.
And it came down, and then
Suicide Squad was like a 3 or a 4.
3-ish.
Yeah, I remember that being quite. Oh God,
I don't think I've ever rated any film we've done on this a 1.
Oh, well done, Hellboy. At least you've got some kind of award.
I think it's the Lifetime Wooden Spoon Award.
The Lifetime Giant Floating Vagina Award.
I mean, it almost ruins the nerdies. Because nothing can be that bad.
Nothing can be...
I think we could give the nerdy right now and be quite safe in the knowledge of doing so.
Oh, God. And we'll have to talk about it again, which is horrible.
Well, I mean, only very brief.
I have been inspired, though, that I am going to watch... Well, one, the trailers made me want to watch John Wick. And I'm now going to spend some time trying to find a way to watch the original Hellboys by Guillermo del Toro, because I really do have a soft spot for them, and I'm probably going to watch them in a whole new, much bigger appreciation light than I had even thought was possible before.
And I think I'm going to therapy to get me over this.
Right, you can all go to talknerdy.uk to listen to more of our reviews, read some blogs, click around, there's interviews on there with cosplayers, and there's trailers, and there's all sorts of cool stuff. Go and give the Facebook page a like, you know you want to, and just, yeah, we'll be back soon with after the next one's Infinity War, dude. But you're not here.
I'm not here.
You're not here. You've been a victim of the snapping. Yes. So it's goodbye from me.
It's goodbye from me, you red-faced swat.
We've been fucking talking nerdy.
I'm in the anti-Hellboy.